I just ride BMX, bro. I could never label it as, and I know some people do that. Sometimes they'll get caught up like, all right, I'm a street rider and I'm a dirt rider. And those different spaces are great to enjoy. And if you just want to be a dirt rider, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. I just know there's so many different pockets of fun. I just don't want to like limit myself to one piece. They built my home skate park and it was dope because it was one of those things that we were only riding dirt jumps at that point. Now it's cool just because there's so much access to everything here in California that you could just ride everything, and I could switch it up and ride street, dirt, and vert in the same day and have just as much fun, and it'll be takeaways from each of those. Never done a gate start or anything like that. Didn't have a racetrack growing up. I'm jumping on my freestyle bike on the racetrack. I'm like, okay, and then I finally got a race bike, and I don't mind not being good at something. You know, there's space for me to learn and grow in that. It's been humbling, and even guys like Tyler Brown, Nick Long, Anthony Ricardo, like there's so many guys that know and live that. They've put the same amount of effort and time into racing as I have freestyle. And so I'm always a sponge, man. So I've learned a lot in racing already at this point. Kind of threw the dart at the dartboard and I was like, all right, wherever it lands, cool, you know, but I'm gonna make sure I have fun with this no matter what. The relationship between riding street and riding vert, there's certain particulars, how you do something is super important. And so if I'm doing a feeble to hard 180 on a ledge, if it's up, if it's down, if it's waxed or not waxed, if it's concrete, navigating that space, I have to do that on the vert ramp as well, planning one of my routes. And it's just crazy because there's so many particulars on vert also. The cool part is like they're both just as fun to me. There's takeaways from each that really enhance the other. And so I can have just as much fun doing that feeble hard 180 is doing like a 10-foot table, you know, and it's just cool because it's not like I'm just riding, you know, but the approach is the same. BMX is tight, bro. Like I said before, I'm just trying to grow even more comfortable year by year to continuously like kind of stretch myself. My advice would be try something new because there's so many different avenues of good fun that's out there. And then when it's all said and done, I can't ride anymore and the wheels finally fall off. I won't have to question it at 70. You know, oh man, I wish I would have, I don't want to say that. When that time does come, like, did the dang thing, bro. You know, like it was good. So I have peace with that.
Cool. Yeah, I think that should do it. I mean, okay, well, let's just talk about life growing up. Like, I mean, not too deep, obviously, but just like what you started out riding and why riding everything remains important.
Gotcha.
know?
And what's the time frame?
Whatever. I mean, I can cut it down.
Okay.
So.
Because I don't want to like we can keep it short and sweet. It ain't got to be like.
No, I mean, we'll talk for 10 or 15 minutes. I'll chop it up.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I don't know. It was cool, man. Growing up in Wisconsin, and it was just one of those things where we kind of rode everything. In '98, they built my home skate park, and it was dope because it was one of those things that we were only riding dirt jumps at that point. We're shaping lips with a spade shovel. Didn't know any better. Didn't have water or anything like that. So we grab like buckets of water from the back hose and walk it down the street and just throw it on the dirt and try to shape it up. My brother, our buddy Tim Boma, and a few other people, like that was like the main crew at that time. And it was just neat because BMX was growing. At that point, X Games was already out, so there was like this allure that it was always drawing us to it, and so we'd just be stoked. And technology, even at that point, was really dope because bikes are getting a little bit better at that point. And my brother and I, we just pieced things together, man. It wasn't anything crazy, but we would just have so much fun with it. And it made it fun because once the skate park was built, we'd already had dirt as the foundation. There wasn't a ton of street and racing, but there was enough to get around on. It'd be like bank to fence, some ledges, but we still had like the threaded pegs at the time, so you can only do so much with those. And it was fun. So it was a variety of things. So we'd ride street on the way to the skate park, finish that up, hit dirt on the way home, and that just became this routine, if you will, like over the years. So it was really fun. And now it's cool just because there's so much access to everything here in California that you could just ride everything. And I mean, there's probably like 50 plus skate parks from here to Los Angeles. So it's one of those things, if you get bored, that there's a problem, and I just love riding so much, man. And so I could ride street, within a rock's throw of my house, and then I can go to the skate parks, go ride dirt. There's public skate park or public dirt parks that are popping up all over the place now, which is cool. And then you have private compounds also. So so this is a mecca right now, man. When I was younger, seeing what JC was like, yo, this is crazy. And Greenville just seemed like such like a elusive thing for me because I was so young, but I always would hear about the sessions and always want to have that at that level. And then it was crazy because once they built my home park, it became that for us. And we're just like, man, this is crazy. All right, cool. And just to see the way that it became what it was really neat because at the end of the day, I just want to have fun. That's it. So right now that's where I'm at.
Cool.
Yeah.
What I guess in the sense where for me, I go to the same few parks over and over and over and over again. Whereas like it seems to me like you've found this like, I don't know, there's just this output of like you being everywhere. Is it almost like not being satisfied with one thing, or is it like, I don't know.
That's a good question. Yeah, no, that's a good way to ask that. I think for me, there's so much variety. I don't want to miss out on a fun opportunity at a skate park that might be somewhere, and I can get caught up on just one feature, and I'll drive 30 minutes just to hit that one thing, and I'll turn around and I'll map it out usually the night before. Like, all right, cool, I'm gonna hit this skate park and then go there and then go to that one. And it might be an idea, it might be something, maybe it's just flowing around, maybe there's no idea, maybe it's the vibe of that park, or sometimes it's like a coffee shop that's down the road that I want to hit, or whatever. So it just, I like to keep it moving, and I don't really get like, I'm not necessarily like too much of a busybody, but I like to enjoy the moment that I'm in. And so I could be at a skate park for an hour and do what I came to do, and be like, all right, cool, what else, And only because there's so much variety, which is nice. So, so I don't think I get too bored of it, but it's just more so like there's so much to ride. I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to have fun.
Yeah. What do you pick up? Like, is there a correlation between doing a feeble hard 180 on a ledge and riding vert in any capacity?
Yeah, there is. I feel like, so the relationship between, say, like just for this conversation, like just riding street and riding vert, there's certain particulars, especially like how you do something, is super important. And so if I'm doing a feeble to hard 180 on a ledge, if it's up, if it's down, if it's waxed or not waxed, if it's concrete versus like a metal edge, all these different things. Is there a bush in the way? Is there like, a parking block or some type of like post before, like navigating that space? I have to do that on the vert ramp as well as I'm routing, planning one of my routes. And it's just crazy because there's so many particulars on vert also that I pay attention to. And it's that they're synonymous. You know, it's this really cool approach to appreciate riding street. And it's how I get on the ledge, the angle that I choose when I'm on it, being patient. If it slides well, just staying in it, and then waiting for the front end to come off. And as I push my back tire through to do the hard 180, rotating my hips and shoulders and looking over my shoulder and getting to a space that gives me enough time to enjoy what I'm doing, and then preparing to land, all that stuff. And the same thing on vert. If I'm carving through, making sure I'm pumping on the way down, and as I come through the next wall, like pushing over, figuring out, don't want to carve it, don't want to go straight up and down. Same thing, like I'm twisting my hips up to get flat, so I'm like, parallel with the ground, and looking over my shoulder. So it's like similar approaches to both of those. And the cool part is like they're both just as fun to me, And so I feel like there's takeaways from each that really enhance the other, and so I can have just as much fun doing that feeble hard 180 is doing like a 10-foot table, And it's just cool because it's not like I'm just riding, but the approach is the same.
Cool. What I should have started with this question, but what kind of BMXer are you?
I just ride BMX, bro. Like, I don't think I could never label it as, and I know some people do that. Sometimes they'll get caught up like, all right, I'm a street rider and I'm a dirt rider. And those different spaces are great to enjoy. And if you just want to be a dirt rider, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. I just know there's so many different pockets of fun. And if I'm riding street and then say I get injured, I could still ride vert if it's not that bad of an injury. If I can take, like, there's more impact on street, depending on what you're doing. If I'm riding vert, that's a lot smoother. The consequences might be a little bit higher based on the ramp, but I'm comfortable with taking that risk. So it's one of those things where it's like, I just don't want to like limit myself to one piece. At the same point in time, I'll say this, I think that if we are painting this big picture, I can take different colors from, say, like vert or street or park or dirt and throw that on the canvas, and that's where I have fun with it, because it's not just this color palette from this. Mm-hmm. I could take all these different options and kind of create this painting that I enjoy, and it's just one of those things like, I'm just trying to have fun, man. So BMX is that's it. I don't think I could ever label it as just one specific thing, just because I enjoy them all so much.
Cool. What about, I think I only have like two more questions. So racing, obviously there's a lot of skills that transfer into racing, but that's essentially, that seems to be like the latest. Mm-hmm. Like you didn't race growing up.
No, yeah, never raced growing up.
So what's it? How'd you catch the racing bug, and how's that experience been? Kind of like, oh, I'm a X Games medalist, but I just kind of suck at this.
Yeah. No, dude, it's humbling, man, and I love it. So my buddy Dwayne Taylor, he was always chirping him, hey, come to the track, man, just come to the track, come check it out. And this is the Olympic Training Center down in Chula Vista. Wanted to check it out. I was like, all right, cool. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, these are very, very well-groomed dirt jumps. Wasn't really, never done a gate start or anything like that. Didn't have a racetrack growing up. We were just doing freestyle, when we were younger. So that dirt compared to racing is like two different worlds. And so I'm jumping on my freestyle bike on the racetrack. I'm like, okay. And then I finally got a race bike, and I don't mind not being good at something. There's space for me to learn and grow in that. And so it's been humbling. And even guys like Tyler Brown, Nick Long, Anthony Ricardo, like there's so many guys that know and live that. They've put the same amount of effort and time into racing as I have freestyle. And so I'm always a sponge, man. So I'll talk to Nick or tell him, like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Or I'll talk to Dwayne, what am I doing wrong? What about this and that? And I don't know, I kind of get my kicks on learning new stuff. So it's been cool. And the tracks that are out here are amazing. And it's just a privilege to see, like, there's still a whole community, just like freestyle, that these guys are learning, and that whole community is growing as well. So it's a fun thing to be a part of.
Cool. What has there been, some takeaways from race at all, or vice versa?
Yeah. So some of the takeaways from racing, like I didn't realize how much I enjoy just and if a skate park's busy, obviously you're bobbing and weaving most times, but you'll be in a race and there's guys that are like, bumping elbows, and like it's a very, very aggressive thing in some instances, and I just enjoy the peace of riding an escape. Even if it's chaotic, I kind of just do my own thing. If you're riding a vert ramp, it's by yourself. If you're riding trails, you're the only one out there, like while you're actually on the ramp. And with racing, it's like you're going full speed, man, and there's dudes right up in your space, you know. So that was a little different, a little intimidating at first, and then once I got comfortable with it, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. As long as everybody has respect and they're courteous, nobody's going down, hopefully. So, so the takeaways with that is like, all right, maybe a different approach to it. Maybe it's I'm not really like super aggressive person or anything like that. So there's been races where we'll be in there and people are cutting you off and trying to push you off the track and all that stuff. I'm like, all right, go for it, bro. Like I don't take myself too serious in that, and I just want to be able to enjoy it. So if I don't know, if I can bridge that gap for people just to have more fun and not be as serious, with the grit of ego, I guess what it comes down to sometimes. Like nothing wrong with wanting to win a race at all, nothing wrong with that, but at the cost of, you know, throwing somebody off the track. It's like, all right, well, did you really win that race? You know? And so same thing, if you got to sabotage, if, you know, you hear funny stories of guys back in the day, like letting the PSI to somebody's tire and stuff like that. It's like, bro, what are you doing, man? Like, so all that, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I've learned a lot in racing already at this point. That last season was great and didn't expect to do as well as I did, but it was just having fun with it and kind of threw the dart at the dartboard, and I was like, all right, wherever it lands, cool, you know, but I'm gonna make sure I have fun with this no matter what. So so it's been cool.
Cool. Yeah. What advice do you have for a rider who hasn't ventured outside of their comfort zone, be it a park style or dirt style or street, anything?
Yeah, dude, I believe 100%, man, like, gotta play some of the best things outside of our comfort zone, you know, and it might be uncomfortable, it might be something that you're not used to, but my advice would be try something new. And say if it's something in the streets, like try it switch, you know, try it faking. There might be something in that space that you have no idea you're gonna enjoy that much of just because you haven't tried it yet, you know. For dirt riders that are trying to ride street, or guys that talk about riding vert sometimes or park or whatever, it's like try something different, just because there's so many different avenues of like good fun that's out there. And I don't want to, again, like limit my experience with BMX to just one discipline, just because I'm always growing, I'm always learning, you know, so I can switch it up and ride street, dirt, and vert in the same day and have just as much fun, and there'll be takeaways from each of those. And so I'm all, like I said before, I'm just trying to grow, and outside of that comfort zone, like I want to get even more comfortable year by year to continuously like kind of stretch myself, you know. And then when it's all said and done, I can't ride anymore and the wheels finally fall off. Like, I won't have to question it at 70. You know, oh man, I wish I would have, I don't want to say that. You know, so if I can stay in that space and enjoy it when that time does come, like, did the dang thing, bro, you know, like it was good. So I have peace with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should do it. I mean,
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, works for me.
Cool.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, man. Short and sweet.